What's up, guys? I'm back here at Fircrest. As I promised, we're going to continue to give you guys updates. My name is Arthur, and this is Ruben.
Ruben the builder, Arthur the developer.
There you go. So we're out here on Fircrest. We are doing phase one, which is 8 duplexes or 8 townhomes. They're each a duplex. So it's actually 4 buildings, 2 units per building. So 4 times 2 is 8. It's pave day today. We literally are getting the first layer of pavement done. It's really important here in our town. It has to be 45 degrees and temperature rising for the asphalt to cure. And as last time, we did not have the curbs, we did not have the storm facility installed. We got all the curbs in, storm facility, they chipped the curbs, so we're gonna have to fix that. And then,
no, it wasn't me, but I'll fix it.
Come on, Ruben. And then they got the S. So S right there in the curb is an easy way for them to identify where the sewer is, because now you can't see where the sewer is. You're not gonna know where the sewer is. Once the house is built, that green 2x4 is gonna disappear. And so it's an easy way for them to know where the sewer lines are at. Ruben, you got any thoughts, anything? Like, what is that?
Yeah, so me as a builder and then he as a developer, we're in constant communication as we're getting this deal approved with the city or the county. And so I'm talking to Arthur, and Arthur's like, okay, what are you gonna build in this area? I do my market research, right? And I decided I'm gonna build 4 buildings, 8 duplexes. And so I said, Arthur, can you please cut the curbs? My driveways need to be, let's just say 30 feet wide. And he pre-cut the curbs for me. What's really nice is I have water meter boxes ready to go. So my excavator comes in on site and he trenches straight from here to the house. And then for the sewer line, he starts trenching from that 2x4. So Arthur's prepping everything for me as a builder to make it a really easy and seamless process. I think that I'm gonna be able to get these 8 units done in realistically 3.5 months if I push the schedule.
Per building?
No, total.
All 8?
We're doing it at the same time, right?
What the heck?
We've already submitted plans. So really what it's gonna look like.
Whoa, actually, let's correct. So Ruben built a 4-plex for me in 3 months and 3 weeks. So 3.5 months for a duplex, it's not too difficult. But to also clarify, Ruben said we cut the curbs. To clarify on what we actually did is when we poured the curbs, I told the concrete company where I want the driveway approaches. So it's either they pour a curb where there is no little driveway approach where it slopes down, then Ruben has to come in and get a guy to saw cut where it's at. I don't like saw cutting, it's not a clean line. So they literally poured exactly where my driveways are gonna be, and they put a line for exactly the center of where the driveway is gonna be. So each driveway is actually 18 feet with a 1-foot gap in the middle. I put a 1-foot gap in the middle so the neighbors don't fight, because if one guy parks on his driveway and the other driveway, they're gonna be like, what the heck is wrong with you? So instead I put a 1-foot gap, and I'm gonna put some little bushes so that it's really clear on whose driveway is whose. But yes, so we thought ahead of time, if somebody is developing or building a project out, if you know exactly what you're building, because we already know what we're building, we have our duplex plans, they're in the city for approval, pour your driveway approaches when you do curbs to make your life easier. What else we got? So we got all the utilities in. Last time we did have utilities in, but we did not have the curb, we did not have power, and we just didn't have everything all staked out. So they've already got those pink flags over there. The pink flag is property corners. This was one huge map. If you go to the corner of each of the property, you'll see a pink flag. Now they staked out where the future lots are going to be that we're creating, because we're going through the city process and we're doing the final plat. The final plat is the piece of paper that shows exactly where each lot is going to be. They staked it, they verify, county's gonna come out and say, yep, you staked it correctly, we're all good. We're gonna go through the paperwork, pay for the fees, and once we finish up the asphalt, and once we finish up power and pour the rest of the sidewalk, they're gonna sign off and say the property was built, the as-built are complete. What that means is, as the engineering plans were approved to show everything we're doing, the as-built are correct and match the approved plans or the paper. So it's built as per plan.
Yeah, so ultimately as a builder, I'm prepping these curb cuts, right? I wanna make sure that utilities are in the right spot. When you imagine this is the driveway to the half of the duplex, I'm looking and I'm checking for things like, hey, is the storm in the right place? So this pipe right here is what's gonna receive all of the gutters, the rain drains, and the storm system. That green 2x4, like Arthur mentioned, is gonna be the sewer connection.
Builder, the driveway is gonna be right here. Should we have a storm pipe here?
Yeah, so there's gonna be a cap in the driveway.
Is that worth it, or should we just move it somewhere else?
There's no
That's fine?
reason to move it.
All right.
Yeah,
Because the guys are on site, like, look, I can pick this up and do it. Oh, just kidding, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Like,
so
I was just curious because if they're
So
already
as
here,
you guys can imagine though, look at this pink little flag right behind me. The survey was done. This is gonna be the firewall, the joining wall in between the two duplexes. So that lines up right halfway in between the driveways, like Arthur said. But he's gonna be nice to them. He's gonna put a 1 foot gap in between. So is this an actual rear
no,
fence
it's
line?
not the end. That's just showing where so they can center the curbs. So they stake that for the curbs.
Okay.
But also, guys, remember, orange flags on the survey sticks is specifically for the development and to locate where the curb's going to be, where the sewer's going to be, where the water's going to be. Pink flags are always, from at least where we are at, pink flags is always property corner, property indication, property line. Anything property line related will be pink flags. And then there's yellow as well, Ruben. What's yellow flags for?
Yellow I saw was like utilities.
Okay, so yellow could be like utilities. But the orange flags are pinpoints of where, you can have grades. So on the orange thing, on the orange flag it's going to say, this is curb and this is offset. The stake is offset 6 inches from face of curb. So they're not going to put it right where the curb is going to be because you're pouring a curb. So they actually write everything that they're doing, and they do elevation also. So they can tell you the height. Curb, elevation 293. And so when somebody has a little surveyor box, they can see the elevation, know exactly the height of the curb and the distance. And that's where they literally get it to like the 1/2 inch. So this curb is almost pinpoint exactly what it was approved on the plans.
So guys, if you're looking into getting into new construction, right, there's multiple ways that you can get into it. If you live in a little bit older city or maybe closer to a metro area, there's a lot of redevelopment happening. So either it's an old house with some extra land on the side, you cut off that vacant lot and you build just one house, right? Or you come into a suburb area, which is outside a bigger major city like Portland, Oregon. We're in Vancouver, Washington. And what we're doing is we're buying typically a house with 1, 2, 3 acres, and then we're demoing the house, getting all the approvals and building 28 units all at once. So I know people get upset sometimes. This looks like a regular subdivision, but look, apartment complex, apartment complex, apartment complex.
So duplexes are better here.
So duplexes are actually better here rather than having tiny little apartment complex units.
Mathematically, I could put 28 townhomes or I could put 32 apartments. This could fit 60 apartments, but the zoning only allowed up to 32 apartments. Would I rather have 32 units, 1,000 square feet each, or 28 townhomes, 1,500 square feet each? If I do the math really quickly, my apartments would be roughly 32 units times 2,000 per unit rental income. That's 64,000 gross income per month. If I was to keep this as a rental, townhomes are going to be 28 times 2,750. That's 77,000 in rental income.
So talk to everybody that's watching right now. How do you know that you can build 32 apartment units or 28 townhomes?
So everything comes down to the zoning ordinance and zoning code. You can get that information typically on, what you do is you search the county. So we're in Clark County. Clark County GIS Property Information Center. You Google that. It's going to pop up. Click on it. You put the address in. Then it's going to say zoning. This zoning is R22. It doesn't matter the zoning name. You want to look into what that means. In my town, it means residential, 22 units per acre. But the only reason I know that is I click on the zoning code, I look into it, I read this entire thing. It says the zoning is 18 to 22 units per gross acre. And then it says lot size has to be minimum 20 feet wide, minimum 80 feet deep. So the zoning is literally a booklet that tells you the guidelines you have to follow for your development. If I go 10 streets down, the zoning code says the maximum units is 6 units per acre, which is single family homes. So you got to just understand
which
the zoning.
is, we just got a deal under contract. It's going to be how many?
27 townhomes.
So it's going to be single family though, right?
Well, no, they're townhomes, but you can't do duplexes or attached, so you have to do detached. So we're doing a little bit larger lots. They're 30 feet by 100 instead of these 20 by 100.
So even if they're not attached, they're not houses?
They're technically townhomes because they're skinny.
But what's the difference between I thought townhomes are all attached.
Well, technically, it's a single family home that's skinny, but everybody calls them detached townhomes because they're so small.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's verbiage.
So here we're gonna have more like townhome style. Over there, right? Any regular person that's driving into that subdivision, it's like probably 15 minutes that way. It's gonna look more like small little houses instead. So that's how zoning comes into play. If you've never dealt with zoning before and you're trying to get into this industry, my recommendation to you is like, Arthur has a lot of development experience, and so he already knows and read the code. But what you can do is you can actually hire a consultant, like a civil engineer. Let's just say that you're looking at a potential deal or you have it under contract. You can go to multiple civil engineers, pay them for an hour of their time, and they're gonna give you like a prelim plat. They'll draw out a potential site plan that what they think is allowed, because they're very well versed in the code.
For my time.
Or you could pay Arthur, yeah.
I actually have an education platform, dozens of students. They're super successful in this game. If you do want and you're interested in it, you can always shoot me on Instagram, shoot me a DM, Arthur the Developer, and I'll get you access to that. One last thing, I gotta wrap up and go, you can keep going. So on the site, what we've done, we got sewer, we got water, we have storm, and now we're doing power. That's the main 4 things that you need. You can add CenturyLink, Comcast, gas, but those 4 are the main components to a development in order for the house to have all of its functions. There's mud everywhere. It's required for you to add this straw, or you call it hay, to stabilize the soils. It's required in its code by the state. They want to make sure the site is stabilized so no water starts to run off into the street and go into the storm drains, because dirty water in the storm drains is just going to make the entire system worse. They want to keep the water as clean as possible, so they require we put all of this here, stabilize the soils. The mud is coming out because this equipment was driving today. At the end of the day, they're going to come in and throw in more straw. They always do. Stockpiles especially are required to have that, because if it's a really heavy rainstorm, the mud's all going to go towards the street. So just so you know, that's required. You got to stabilize the site. It's extremely important.
What is that called? Erosion control.
Erosion control is what it's called. And then the other thing is any piping that is sticking up, so like the storm piping, because it's rain and water, we had to cap it. So they threw on some fabric and they tied it, because if somebody comes in and, let's just say, accidentally get some dirt in there, you're getting the system dirty. They really want clean water when it's coming in, like the rain that's coming in, they want it to be clean. They don't want muddy. You're gonna get fined. If they start seeing mud in the streets, I'm gonna get big fines. So they cap that, they make sure that's taken care of. Any other big changes on the site, I think that's the major things. Once we pave, get power in, cover up the power, all we gotta do is landscape the street. So there's street landscaping, a couple trees, some bark, and some bushes, and we are literally ready to go. Development will be 100% complete. I got a couple of things from the city I got to go through, city process and the county, to record these lots, and I'm game to go start building. What's cool in our city is I can submit the building permits ahead of time, which I did, and so all 8 units are already in city review, and as soon as we finish the development, we can actually already start building. So we're saving ourselves literally 3 months of timeline by submitting those plans ahead of time.
So what's really cool about specifically erosion, we have silt fence around. So the silt fence goes into the ground and it stops the water from draining out of the site. So that's what silt fence is for. And then as you guys can see, we have a lot of these like filters, right? So these go onto the storm drains and they stop a lot of the actual dirt from going into the storm system. So as you can see over here, we're gonna walk over to one of these brand new storm drains, and we have this filter fabric installed, and we change it from time to time during construction. And this is how we stop any kind of like last bit of runoff. If the hay didn't stop it, the silt fence didn't stop it, this is the best way. Or what's really nice is now that we have curbs in, water is not gonna come in and overflow. We don't have that much, that strong of rains, but it's really important to protect the storm system, keep the water clean. And so we have specific erosion inspections to make sure that we're up to code there.
Who adds those filters?
We do. So either, it depends on who's working, but typically, because excavation and erosion are so similar, a lot of times the excavator will install or replace all of the erosion control measures, and then there's an erosion inspection before you can continue on with the build. So they verify that everything is still up to code and good. Let's see, what else do we talk about? So when they install these water meter boxes, guys, we have the water lateral, right? But as you can see, there's no actual water meter installed. So a really important thing that I've made a mistake before in the past is I'm all the way up to framing and rough and plumbing, and I don't have my water meter installed. I call the city. Typically there's a fee for the water meter, and sometimes they're backed up 2 to 3 weeks, and that can really delay a construction schedule. So right now, I'm already mentally preparing, writing notes, and getting ready. So once building permits are approved, once I'm starting excavation, I'm already talking to the Water Bureau and making sure to get prepared to add the water meter. I'm gonna have to pay that fee. That way, when it's time to test the house for rough and plumbing, I'm already gonna have my water meter installed. So when you have new development like this is where new construction is about as simple as it gets, because you literally have everything handed to you on a silver platter. Water meter, sewer, storm system. You don't have to build any kind of dry wells or anything like that because they're already built for you. But when you're doing infill development, like in Portland, Oregon, let's just say, or a different like major city, a lot of times you're coming in and there's a vacant lot that's been somebody's extra side yard for last 20, 30 years, and there's no sewer lateral. So what you have to do is you have to come in, cut it, open the street, cut it open, find the sewer main, right? Then you cut a hole, install a sewer lateral to your actual site. And so you're not doing development, right? But you're in a sense it is. It's called infill. And so you're adding these laterals, and that's an extra $10,000 to $15,000 for that sewer lateral. And then same with water. Oftentimes in Portland, I have to hire the Portland Water Bureau. They come in and they add that water line main, and then they install a water meter box, and then I can opt to have them install the water meter right away as well. So that's sewer water. And then for storm system, a lot of times we dig a big hole, we put that same type of filter fabric, we fill it with rock, and all the rain drains and the rain from the house, from the roof, from the gutters goes into this big pit of rock underground, filters through that fabric and goes back into the ground nice and clean. So yeah, regarding development, it's the easiest way to build a house and have the least amount of surprises because everything is prepped for you. When you're doing infill, you got to check for things like, can the street handle the extra power draw that I'm going to have? Okay, if it can't, then you're going to have to pay $3,000 to $5,000 for an additional transformer to be installed. Or if, let's just say, like a lot of times in Vancouver, they've completely switched to underground. So they have a lot of power lines in downtown Vancouver, but anytime somebody's applying for a new building permit, they've made it a rule that now you have to go underground, and that's an additional cost. So like in this situation, right? Older neighborhood, right? You see power lines right here, but because we're doing a new development and new construction, guess what they're making us do? We have to completely remove this power line, and we're trenching right now for underground power lines, and we're gonna put a transformer, that green box that a lot of us grew up on in the neighborhood, sitting on, hanging out with our friends. That is gonna transform the power from the high voltage to the voltage for each unit. And so there's different things to look out for like that. But yeah, as a builder, development is the easiest way to get into new construction, specifically like finding a developer that prepares the lots for you and there's no surprises. But infill development, in a sense, is a lot easier because you don't have to take on the debt or liability or investors for 28 units. I have a free community, guys. So I talk about all this stuff in detail. It's called the 7-Figure Builder Community. If you go to 7fig.io, S7fig.io, you could join a free community. We have over 2,000 members in there as of right now. I post a lot of my plans, resources, checklists, things that I'm doing as a builder, and I'm posting like live updates as I'm building in this. I'll be building this community. I'm super excited to show you guys how quick I can build these duplexes. I'm gonna aim for 3.5 months per duplex. So we'll start with excavation. Once the excavator's done, right, we're gonna get that survey, foundation form set up. Right away, excavator's gonna jump to the next lot. Foundation's done here, he'll jump to the next lot. And so we'll stage the units as fast as possible like that. And that's how we'll be building them. So super exciting. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and looking forward to building out all these 28 units.
Also, comment any questions.
All right, comment any questions and I will respond to every single one of them.